The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Somerton Cocopah, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37614. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first at the front bumper, there are dual air horns on the face of the front bumper, both on the passenger and driver side. Moving directly in the center, unit identifier E-1. As we move to the driver's side of the vehicle, recessed in the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the top of the bumper extension on the driver's side, your mechanical siren. As we move to the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your front bumper discharge and also Velcro tie downs. Moving out to the outer edge of the cab is where you'll find your turn indicator marker light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Above that, forward-facing emergency warning lights. On the outer edge, flat mirror and convex mirror on both the A and B pillar. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights, and moving up onto the roof, your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at the driver's side of the vehicle. First, we'll start with lower zone emergency warning lights on the front bumper, just over the front tire and over the rear axle. Upper zone emergency warning lights on the rear section of the body. There are 2. As we move to the very front, you'll find 2 bar lights, one slightly angled toward the front and one side facing. Also, you'll find side facing floodlights on the rear body section. As we move to the front axle, you'll find a Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire visual sight gauge indicator in the very center of the axle. This is the front drain for your front bumper discharge. Also, you'll find shoreline power both for the vehicle and a separate shoreline power for your air conditioning unit. As we move to the doors, you'll find easily accessible latches with the gloved hand, and they are also keyed. Right next to that is where you'll find the grab handle for gaining entry and exit in and out of the cab. As we move toward the lower portion of the cab area, the blue cap is where you'll find the DEF fill location. I've got a few more images of that we can talk about. Also, just in front of and rear of the axle, folding wheel chock storage location. Also, a marker turn indicator light just in front of the rear axle, and then also pan doors located here in the axle area for SCBA bottle storage. Let's move to the rear of the apparatus, where you'll find a brake, turn, and reverse light on the outer edge. Just inside that location, emergency warning light. Just above that, on the driver's side, is where you'll find your rear inlet. As we move up, we have a cupped switch for the scene lights. And then D handle gains us access into where our ground ladders are stored. There is a 24-foot ladder and a 14-foot roof ladder. Moving further up, we have emergency warning lights. And at the very top section, you have an additional rear-facing scene light. Let's move back toward the center area, where you'll find just above the rear roll-up door a recessed backup camera. Within that same area, your traffic advisor. Above that also is a step area. To the right, you'll also find a 2.5-inch discharge. Moving further to the right, your access ladder. And let's move around now to the driver's or passenger side of the vehicle. Same configuration and layout as you have on the driver's side. Same cab configuration. And same concept for body. Our exhaust will be ported toward the top of the vehicle. Let's take a quick look at some images that we just talked about, which is the front bumper extension, swivel discharge inside, dry deck material. This is a capable of foam discharge. Here is the A pillar for your air conditioning shoreline and also shoreline inlet for your vehicle. We're now into the driver's space. Let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to door panel, safety and warning placard information, manual window controls, door lock and latch combination, and a grab handle. As we move down to the step well area, I would like to point out on the vertical surface here, there is an air inlet. I've got a close-up of that here. And as we move to about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and fluid type. As we move to the floor, you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal. This is still on the driver's side. And as we move up, master battery switch. Moving down, we've got some switches. We've got a regen inhibit, ABS diagnostics, a engine transmission ABS diagnostic port for your maintenance team, and display port. Also DPF regen and engine diagnostics switch and tech module. You'll also find the indicator for stationary OK to pump and roll, water pump and foam system activation. Moving to the dash now on the left side, you'll start first with your 4-way flasher or hazard lights, start and ignition switch. A small switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency warning lights. Headlights and panel switch. Moving to the other side, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. On the gauges, you're going to find your transmission, oil, def, and water temp on the left. On the right, front air, rear air, volts, and fuel. Tachometer and speedometer are going to be directly in the center. Diagnostic information displays and tally lights both above and below the speedometer, in addition to a visual indicator in the very center. Let's move just to the right of the operator. We'll start first with the yellow diamond, which is your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Those are for your rear brakes. Moving to the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. It's a touch screen and also function buttons underneath. Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout. Here's a quick image of that command zone. And then as we move just to the right, some additional switching for the air horn. And all the way to the far right, you'll find your generator PTO switch. Also below that, we have an engine brake on and off switch, settings for low, medium, and high, push to talk for your radio, and mirror heat. We also have some caution information placards here also with information note to pump in neutral. Allison transmission pad, once again, just a close-up. As we move to the side, you'll find the flat and convex mirror control. You will find these red and white labels throughout the vehicle. They're indicating there is spare wiring behind. Please do not remove these until someone has accessed that spare wiring for whatever that device is called for. Also, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Just below that, climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. And also a USB and USB-C outlets, 12-volt access. Overhead of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 6 inches. The length of the vehicle, 32 feet 3.5 inches. Gross vehicle weight rating, 48,500 pounds. This also has the 5-digit job number 37614. Switching here for emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been activated, the green light will illuminate, indicating that it is on. Moving further to the right, an additional switch panel with high beam flash, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, and load manager. Same thing, when the switch has been activated, the green light will illuminate, indicating that it is active. Let's move just to the right, where you'll find a digital pump pressure readout. This would be for pump and roll scenarios. Also, you'll find your seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. This is your traffic advisor module to the rear of the vehicle. In the very center, this is on the roof ceiling level. You'll find a do not move your apparatus if this light is flashing. It's indicating you may have a compartment door open. As we move to the very upper corner, you'll find the generator operating instructions. That's at the ceiling level. quick look to the rear, 2 forward-facing SCBA seats and 2 rear-facing. Directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find a speaker control with volume. That is for your backup camera system, and also a manual tilt handle for if you have some sort of a failure with your manual or with your electric tilt on the cab tilt. Back to the Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge. We're now into the rear section of the cab. We'll start with the door panel. A fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we move to the very center, you'll find the white air conditioner. This is your 110 air conditioner. Controls are on that panel. Also, you'll find at the very rear section, SCBA seats, forward-facing and also rear-facing. EMS compartments on the outer edge. As we move toward the center section, here in the next image, you'll find a ventilated space, exterior access only and locked for your med box. Also in the very center, you'll find access, lift and turn, gains you access to the rear portion of the engine for your daily checks for oil and also transmission. Let's go back exterior now to the auxiliary pump panel area, and we'll start at the very top and work our way down. First, starting at the top, backboard storage location and a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. That's why we have a warning placard. Also, your 2.5-inch crosslay is located here. It is foam capable. As we move down now into the crosslays, you'll find 2 additional crosslays here, both foam capable, and also a release to pull the speed layout. As we move to the notch area of the auxiliary pump panel, the blue cap, this is your DEF fill location. We do also have some caution information and tank size of the DEF fill location. As we move to the pump panel itself, locally controlled 2.5-inch discharges are here. They are gauged here and also controlled through ball valve action at this location. As we move to the right, we have a warning sticker regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is your auxiliary foam pickup discharge location, and also we have the Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump inlet. Also, as we move down across the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Just to the right of this location, your auxiliary 2.5-inch inlet. This is locally controlled via ball valve female coupling. The step does fold outward. It is attached to the do not move your apparatus. If the step is open, you will need to restore that. As we move to the pump panel, let's start at the very top. If you properly engage your pump from inside the driver's seat, this light will be illuminated, indicating pump OK. As we move to the left, these are your pressure ports for vacuum and pressure. These are test gauge ports and are utilized during testing purposes. They're currently plugged. Pump intake on the left, pump discharge on the right. We do have an audible speaker. It's the round black bezel in the upper right-hand corner that does rotate, allowing you to brighten or dampen the sound. To the right of that, you'll find a PCM fault indicator. It's a visual indicator which will also give you audible alarm. Foam is going to be A, and it's the green indicator here. As we move to the right, water is blue, and that's the indicator for your water tank level. Let's move down now on the pump panel. Let's talk a little bit about some of the discharges. Starting first on the left, moving across, we have the front discharge number 1, number 2, and 2.5-inch crosslays. Those are all foam capable. A push to prime, air prime, also instructions at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Just to the right, you'll find the foam bypass for your deluge discharge, and then further to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Please see the owner's manual for more information on that. Just below, you'll find the rear inlet. It is an electric valve for open and close. As we move down, let's start first with your recirculating line on the left. Moving further to the right, you'll find the red module here. This is your Husky 12 foam system. There are instructions and specifications just below that. To the right, you'll find your master stream device. Moving further to the right, passenger rear discharge. Then the 2 electric valves on the passenger side, the 2 discharges are 2.5-inch discharge and large diameter discharge, both on the passenger side. Tank fill and tank to pump. Moving further to the right, a couple of placards here regarding your Husky foam system. Also a warning indicating that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. Also, further to the right, you'll find a warning placard regarding foam. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. We have a jack outlet here for your headset system. As we move further down on the pump panel at the very bottom, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll come back to that. All of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. In the pan door, you'll find your foam fill lever, horizontal for foam operations or vertical for foam fill. Also a red protected switch. This is your manual pump override. Back to the instructions here on that yellow handle. It's the back side of the door. At the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left is the associated GPM for that test pressure. On the right, the RPM for that test pressure. Just as a point, we do have a governed speed while in pump mode of 2050 RPMs. As we move to the left vertical wall, you'll find driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and a air horn. As we move into the compartments, a tool compartment located in the bottom here. Moving now to the upper section where you'll find a tool board on the very back wall, in addition with SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles, in addition with an oxygen bottle. As we move to the rear axle, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheels. To the rear portion of the axle, an additional SCBA bottle storage, and also a fill location for ultra low sulfur diesel. Moving to the rear compartment, at the very bottom you'll find the folding wheel chock adjustable shelf. Now all compartments are open. On the driver's side, we're moving to the rear now. All compartments open, ladder deployed. We'll start in the upper compartment with a 10-foot folding attic ladder. Moving downward, we have a 24-foot extension ladder and a 14-foot roof ladder. Moving to the very bottom where you'll find your rear floodlight. It's a cupped switch located in the lower section. Rear inlet. As we move toward the hose bed area, hose bed dividers, traffic advisor, and backup camera. Those are both recessed. Also an indication here regarding warning, entanglement hazard because of those lines coming from aloft. Into the roll-up compartment door, an adjustable shelf. Into the upper tool compartment, we have long-handled tool storage for 4 hand tools. Storage location for rigid suction hose. This is in the upper step area. And then also rear scene light switch. This is directly behind the ladder location. Some additional safety warning. Fall regarding when climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And right next to it, you'll find a 20 amp outlet. Ladder's fully extended here on the back side, and we're now into the next compartment onto the passenger side with a pull-out tray in the lower portion. And then as you can see, pegboard around the outer edge of the side and rear compartment. Also, the rear inlet air bleed is located just behind the rear axle. Moving now to the forward section, we have an upper compartment. The 2 lower compartments housing SCBA bottle storage. This is for 3 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. Moving down to the axle where we have a Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel. Forward of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for up to 3 bottles with retaining straps. Moving into the next compartment, you can see at the very top section of this compartment on the vertical sidewall, this is where you'll find your charger for your batteries. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will become active. Also, the breaker panel, which is G1, stands for generator, has the individual breakers. At the very top section, this is the electrical cord reel motor breaker for that motor. It was the black portion with the rubber boot on the end. We have some box lights mounted on the wall. In addition, we have our rear inlet and manifold drain, and also relief valve directly behind that for the pump inlet. As we move back to the notch area at the very top section, just as a reminder, warning regarding entanglement hazard because those lines coming from aloft. Also the 2 pull-out cross lays located here, foam capable. As we move to the pump panel, auxiliary panel on the passenger side, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner. First started with a warning regarding fall hazard. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Also an additional warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And then also some danger placard information here. Because of the movement of the cab, there's a possibility of pinch and also death because of that cab movement. As we move to the right, you'll find an electric valve. This is a 2.5-inch discharge and then also a large diameter discharge. These are both electric and have overrides associated with them in case there's a failure of the valve. At the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Fold-out step. Once again, this is tied to your do not move your apparatus. At the rear portion of the cab wall, we have an additional compartment located here. It is a locked compartment. Moving now inside to the cab area in the firefighter space. Door panel, a fixed door panel, safety warning placard, door lock and latch, window control, push on and off red and white lights. Against the rear wall, you'll find our headsets for the intercom system. Also 2 rear-facing and 2 forward-facing seats. This is the ventilation inside of the compartment where the med box will be stored. We're now to the engine intake. You can see the pan door located here with the XT on it. This is a inlet for your main air for your engine. To the Goodyear tire Alcoa wheel visual sight gauge indicator. I think as we move forward back up now to the officer's space, we'll start with the door panel here, and once again a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, manual window controls, door lock and also latch. The vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. This is the location of that airbag and also warning regarding mounting any of equipment within this area. To the right A-pillar is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid, and then just above that you'll find also a glove box in this area. This is just below the grab handle at the top section. As we move to the inside location, you'll find at the forward section a spotlight portable hand lantern, and then also we have our radio push-to-talk, siren brake, and air horn. Also vehicle data recording port. Over the top of the officer's area, you'll find a visual digital speedometer indicating the speed of the vehicle. To the left of this location, we'll find additional storage and then also your intercom location for volume control and squelch. Rear scene, passenger scene, driver scene, and traffic advisor flash is also located within this area. As we move to the rear portion of the officer seat, directly behind, you'll find an additional fuse box located here direct to battery. All compartments are open now on the passenger side. Let's go up on top of the vehicle now. We'll take a look at some of the hatch compartments, hose bed, and then also the dunnage area. Let's first start with the air conditioning unit at the very front. Once again, this is a 120 volt air conditioner. We do have some do not walk in this area because it may be slippery. This is a non-walking surface on the cab roof. Also, as we move to the dunnage area, you'll find your Husky 12 hydraulic reservoir. There's a visual sight gauge on it. As we move to the right, you'll find the Harrison hydraulic reservoir, and then also the generator itself, master stream device, and also top control for on and off of the master stream device. Also pointed out here is we do have a visual stack located here for your exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious when operating within this area. This is once again the hydraulic reservoir for the Husky 12 foam system. The Harrison hydraulic oil reservoir and fill location. Water tank top fill. Foam tank top fill, tank A, also a warning indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. On our side hatch compartments, dry deck material inside those areas. As we move to the forward section, this is where your electrical cord reel is located that runs down through into the compartment itself. As we move to the hose bed, we have our hose bed dividers, also the yellow diamonds locating around the edge of the hose bed area, indicating the safe walking area for firefighter safety. The next set of images are going to be that of the chassis area. Let's start first at the front of the vehicle. I'd like to point out these are attachment points for firefighter use. For towing the vehicle, these are the attachment points for physically towing. As we move now, this is going to be the driver's side of the vehicle. This is your steering box and linkage. As we move now to the engine area, I would like to point out just on the top of the frame rail is where you'll find the safety bar. Once the cab has been fully tilted, please install the safety bar. At that point, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both right and left cylinders. As we move to the rear portion of the engine, this is the power steering fluid reservoir. You'll also find oil fill location and also transmission located at the rear portion of the engine. As we move to the battery box area, you'll find just underneath that, these are your termination points for positive and negative jumper cables. From this point until the very end, there'll be no additional audio. We're back now on the passenger side. I wanted to point out near the battery box in this area is where you're going to find the coolant reservoir. And then also just inside of that location is the hydraulic reservoir for the cab tilt. This will complete the additional chassis photos of your apparatus. Congratulations, Somerton Cocopah, Arizona Fire Department, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37614. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.